Hi.
So we're at Clarabelle Decker, and it's before most everybody shows up because they have the children locked out of the play yard in this school. And I actually shot a video of Clarabelle Decker before, but they keep the gate locked. So right now, look over there. They're just, everybody's standing there waiting for them to unlock the gate. And this is very parent unfriendly because what it does is it causes the parents to all have to line up along the street and all funnel in through this one entrance. They do have a couple of other gates that they unlock a few minutes after they unlock this one. But basically, just to make it as parent unfriendly as possible, your choices are the buses or stand here and wait for them to unlock the gate. So for the first half of the school year every year, there's always cars parked here because it's very tough to hit a very small window of time to get your kid not late for school and not standing here waiting for the gate to be unlocked. So I wonder why this is done except general indifference to parents. And the school we're about to go to, which is Deskin, they're forced to cooperate with parents because there's a park immediately adjacent to the school. And the park is designated for school use only from 7 a.m. till well after school. And so therefore the parents can allow their children to play in the park if the school isn't cooperating. And for that reason the school has unlocked the gates and allows the children to play on the play structure. Now behind me you'll see a play structure that's worth about maybe $150,000 with the land included, but they typically don't allow the children to play on it during before school and after school. Now, if you have nothing to do with your kid during school hours, then could you tip up the camera, honey? If you have nothing to do during school, before and after school hours, then you can take your child around to the safe key and pay a fee for them to watch your child. But if you're only here maybe 5 or 10 minutes early, that's unreasonable to ask somebody to pay a fee, and so why not let the kids play in the play yard? As I mentioned before, sunlight and fresh air is good for children, and if you take them and hand them in the safe key, they feed them sugar cereal before school, which makes it hard to concentrate, and of course just generally bad nutrition, not to mention educating children to eat sugar cereal and cinnamon rolls and basically garbage before school is a bad idea. So now we're at the intersection of Redwood and Katy, and the reason why we've come here is because they could fence off this end of the school. The other school had a fence separating it in its play yard, and then they could just let the kids go on to that area. But instead they've chosen to use the fences in a different way and basically to isolate the children from the school. Now while we were standing over at one of the other entrance, and just after I shut off the camera, one of the kids had a balloon that he was blowing up, and the balloon went straight up in the air, and I thought they were going to run out in the street because of course they're standing on the public sidewalk because they won't let them into the school. Now I know that having a public playground is unpopular with the neighborhoods in some cases, and so this is not a one-size-fits-all solution. But right where I'm standing, there's a bunch of buildings associated with the church right across the street, and I doubt if the church would object if they were to have a small, like a child-size opening, 3 foot wide, a person-size open gate entering into the play area where the kids could go play in the morning, and particularly if it's done with a curfew and obvious controls, no dogs and so on, so that the kids could come on and play in the morning before school and try to get themselves invigorated and awake so that the teachers can actually teach them instead of filling them up with sugar biscuits and sugar cereal and juice before sending them into class. Out here getting a little vitamin D even though it's an overcast day. Thanks. So we're at one of the other elementary schools. This is what's called an ABC school, and as you can see by the sign, this park is reserved for the school use during the day, but in the morning when you drop your kid off, there you see children playing in the playground. Now, since the school doesn't have the ability to lock the children out of playing when they come to school in the morning, because this is a public park, they actually do let them use the play structures, which you can see over there.
It's on.
Great. Stop it. So unless you think that these ideas were done for some kind of money-saving reason, let me make it clear to you that they're not. Behind me you see this huge bus drop-off which was built in 1994 at the John S. Park Elementary School. And they built this because of the one-size-fits-all school design concept, which means that every school gets the same thing, whether it makes any sense or not, whether it's helpful to the children or not. So in this case, they built this bus drop-off, even though there were no school buses dropping off at the beginning and end of the day at the school. This is a walk-to school within a 1-mile grid, so all the children are walking to the school, or were walking to the school in those days, and they built this massive bus drop-off. Now, they may have done that so that they can overpopulate the school by busing children in from outside the grid, but it was fairly ideal at the time that the school was had its last additions done to it. It was sized for 720 9-month or 900 year-round, and it could all be walked to from this neighborhood. But instead they spent, I'll say, $50,000 to $100,000 on this bus drop-off, which basically nobody uses. Now, I do know that there was a special ed bus that came, but it went over to the far side of the school because that's where their special ed classroom is. And so when they're talking about not having enough money to do things in schools that help children learn, think about this wasted money here.